What is going on, YouTuberverse? John Stanek from Johnny Radio here, bringing you another episode of the top 100 artists of all time as voted by you guys. So excited. We're counting down numbers 35 to 31 in this episode, so let's get right to it. At number 35... the Kinks. I'm so excited to see the Kinks this high on the list. They are absolutely, I think, one of the best bands of all time, one of the best British bands, especially coming on the scene during the British invasion in the mid-60s with songs like You Really Got Me and Tired of Waiting, All Day and All of the Night. But just they continued to grow, and Ray Davies' songwriting just kept getting better and better with each additional album. For me, my favorite is 1970s Lola versus Power Man and the Money Go Round. It has so many of my favorite Kinks songs like Lola, like Power Man, just every single thing. And it being a concept album on top of it, I think it's just the coolest. Also love songs like Well Respected Man and Dedicated Follower of Fashion, which show off their sense of humor. Ray and Dave Davies were just such a great duo and such a fun band. Absolutely deserve to be this high on the list, and I'm psyched about it. So now at number 34... The Smiths, another British rock band from another era, more of the 80s is when they came on the scene. And I have to say, I'm not that surprised that they're this high on the list, but I wouldn't put them this high. I've never really got into them. I know a lot of people love the album The Queen is Dead, but I never really got into that one. For me, I would have to say my favorite would be A Hatful of Hollow, which has my favorite song, How Soon Is Now. Just love Johnny Marr's guitar sound on that track. It's a great driving at night tune. And so their music is a little hit or miss for me. Morrissey is a bit of an acquired taste vocally, but a lot of people love him with the Smiths and in his solo career and so forth. So yeah, definitely not surprised to see him this high, but for me, I'd have him a little lower. But hey, this is a democracy, guys. So let's get to the next one now at number 33. The Eagles, another band, lots of bands on this episode, this one being an American one from California, and, not really surprised to see them this high on the list either. I also would say they're probably a little overranked, but based on popularity alone, their greatest hits album is still the highest selling American record, and for good reason. So many great hits like Desperado and Witchy Woman, or as on Seinfeld, I would say Witch A Woman. Of course, Hotel California, which I would say that's my favorite album by them and my favorite song. Just what Joe Walsh added to the mix on lead guitar on that thing was just through the roof. And of course, Don Henley on vocals, who I think is a little underrated as a vocalist. He's just so good and so smooth that he often goes overlooked, I think, especially the fact that he's a drummer and a vocalist. Him and Levon Helm and a very short list of drummers that can sing that well at the same time, just amazing to me. And yeah, so just based on talent level, absolutely the Eagles had to be on this top 100. I just think there might be a little high in the mix. But anyway, now at number 32... Fleetwood Mac, another American band, and another one that a couple years ago I would have said they might be a little high on this list, but in the last few years I've really gotten into this band and I love them now. And really, Rumors being my favorite album by them. It has so many of my favorite tracks, like The Chain and Gold Dust Woman and just so much great stuff. But also Landslide from their album before that. Stevie Nicks is just so brilliant vocally. Tracks like Dreams especially as well, and the harmonies that they have as a group. I got into them a couple years ago, I was watching a documentary about the band, and their story is just so crazy, especially how many of the band members were sleeping with each other at different times. It's really quite a drama, and that's what kind of got me into their story. But then when you start hearing more and more of the music, it just sucks you in, man. And there's so much emotion to it, raw emotion, and just so much talent. Lindsey Buckingham on guitar is incredible. Just the whole band is great, and you can see why so many people love them. And that is at number 32. So now at number 31... Simon and Garfunkel, the great folk duo. I'm actually happy with them being this high on the list as well. When I was a kid in my early teens, I kind of made fun of their music when it would come on. Of course, at the time, I was just into like grunge and hip hop. So whenever I would hear songs like Mrs. Robinson, I would kind of poke fun at it. But I always knew that the songwriting, especially by Paul Simon, was very strong on songs like Sounds of Silence. I mean, just an incredibly written song, especially lyrically. But then years later, when I saw The Graduate and I realized how many amazing songs of their catalog are in that film, like Mrs. Robinson, like Scarborough Fair, it just made me realize how cinematic their music was. It was not just this folky music. They really had a huge sound. A lot of that has to do with Art Garfunkel's amazing voice, but the two voices together on gems like The Only Living Boy in New York, which also ended up in a movie, Garden State, Hazy Shade of Winter ended up in a movie. Their music was just so big, and it defied the genre. I mean, they did so many different things within folk music, like the cover of El Condor Pasa and Cecilia, totally different styles that it never got old. And, I wish they would have went on longer as a duo. But then again, Paul Simon had a great solo career as well. He's actually now joins the ranks of just a couple other artists on this top 100 to be on here twice. Eric Clapton, Peter Gabriel, and Sting, and now Paul Simon. And I don't know, man, if I had to pick a favorite album, Bridge Over Troubled Water, probably you can't beat that. I mean, just so many great songs on that record, but also the Graduate soundtrack. I mean, yeah, man, just so much great stuff. And it's so great to see just these awesome, timeless artists on this list. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Did anyone that you voted for make it on this episode? I'm sure you probably did, because we're getting up there, guys. Next week, we're going to start into the top 20s, starting with number 30 on up. So stay tuned. We're getting there. Thank you for watching. And as always, Viva la vinyl. So guys, thanks so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and be sure to ring the bell for notifications so you can always see great quality content like you're seeing on the screen right now. Thank you so much for supporting Johnny Radio, and I'll see you soon.